Sea Whiz, right? It's a close-in weapon system. Kind of like they have these rolling airframe missiles. I think there's 6 in a box and 4 boxes per unit. One fore, one aft. You have the Sea Whiz system. And if you're like me, if you've ever watched one of these firepower demonstrations from these technologies, they're not very good. The rolling airframe missiles are much better at hitting something in the air than they are on the ground. They're not designed to hit a boat, an incoming drone boat. So you have to understand that Russia has all these defenses. Evidently, it just has to be nighttime and you're fucked. We use the same technologies. Maybe not the same apples and apples, okay? But I mean, they came from the same tree. They came from the same tree. And this is what we use on our naval vessels. We have the Aegis groups that follow our aircraft carriers around that are air defense, and they're really good at it. They're good at shooting very, very expensive missiles of very long ways to eliminate threats. And they can do, I mean, they can target like 80 different targets at one time. But you see, in practicality, I mean, these arms companies have sold us a bunch of shit that just really isn't in practicality and actual use in the fog of war, okay, what they claimed it was. 100% kill, never miss, never. And then you see how many ships that Ukraine has damaged or sunk using drones that are like the size of a bass boat. Exactly what terrorists would use, full of explosives. You don't even need a shape charge if you can put enough explosive in there, okay? Because water doesn't compress. That's what makes the underwater ones so deadly, okay? Torpedoes don't hit ships anymore. Torpedoes go just underneath and explode, and that void, okay, cracks them in half, then blows them up out of the water when it collapses again. We use those same technologies for close-in support. I mean, if you watch these firepower demonstrations, you'll see 5 or 6 rounds go out there, and one of them might be close, but the other 4 aren't even near to close. What good is a system where 1 in 5 is not even close? What's the advantage of that system in today's level of technology? Okay, we should be able to put that bullet right up the captain's ass, right? It shouldn't be a matter of boom, 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 and they still haven't hit it. And I've seen this with my own eyes. This is why these, even though the Russians are shooting at these vehicles, they can't damage them enough to stop them. A bullet going through explosives, it doesn't impart enough energy to make it explode. They can shoot the bomb up and still nothing happens. The bomb's still going to go off as long as the electronics are in shape. So that's pretty worrisome that we have these ships out there that from what I can see are just as vulnerable to this kind of attack as Russia's surface fleet. You can see the Black Sea, how contentious it's become there now because of these drones. And now the underwater drones. And of course the Russians are like, oh yeah, there was nothing happened. Yeah, there's minor scratch. It'll buff out. You know what I mean? It's hilarious how they do that. But is America fooling itself? Is it fooling itself? I've watched firepower demonstration. When I was in the military, I watched firepower demonstrations from the 70s right up until 2025 of our most modern weapons. Now, if you take short range, ground to ground, like a Bradley with a Bushmaster on it and exploding rounds, very deadly. It's been proven in combat. But you can't stop an RPG from taking it out. You can't afford to load up a vehicle with so much armor, right? I mean, this is warfare. It comes down to economics. Can your $500 drone defeat a $100,000 missile? Well, it doesn't have to. It just has to make you use a $100,000 missile for me launching a $5,000 drone. Those economics don't work, which is why everybody's into the tactical lasers now. Okay? That is yet to proven itself in combat. I can tell you right now, what I'm not going to say, I can tell you there are numerous ways of defeating the technology that is there right now. Numerous ways. So until I've seen it work in combat, where it's economical and it doesn't get blown up, when they send 20 drones at you because you're a worthwhile target, and you have to be within the theater of operation. We're talking, man, I don't know, 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers, right? I mean, 25,000 feet, 30,000 feet, maybe. I don't know that they could stop 5 drones. Until I see it function, it's going to be just like these cannons, the 5-inch gun. Man, they all wanted that 5-inch gun because it left all kinds of space for lots of other technologies, and they liked that, okay? Nothing beats a 16-inch naval gun, all right, for getting people to think a different way. That 5-inch was supposed to be an all-around everything, and it's really an all-around nothing is what it is, okay? But the close-ins, the Sea-Whiz, you know, they have the land version, right? And when the military is selling these weapon systems, they show it shooting mortar shells, and it's shooting, you know, high-speed missiles, and it's shooting all of these, you know, incoming artillery rounds. And then you watched it in Afghanistan, you watched it in Iraq, and it didn't perform the way they said it was going to. Their hit record was not that good. Okay, missiles were still coming in and hitting the compounds. So I don't understand why, with the technology that we have right now, you know, we're going to spend all our time and effort on a system that's going to be easily destroyed. I don't care how advanced or how badass it is. If it's not survivable, then it's nothing, which worries me about surface ships now. After I've seen how the air defense and you know, fired projectile defense on Russian ships has worked against sea babies, they're not even that fast. An Exocet missile, they're going to be substantially harder to hit. You see, that's what these rolling airframe missiles are supposed to be about. They're supposed to reach out there at 10, 15 miles and take out these incoming threats. And they don't fire one. I think they fire like 3 or 4. They just boom, boom, boom. There are some man-pad carrying systems that are pretty awesome that go from like 0 to Mach 3 in less than a second kind of thing. But those are still, they're short range, super short range. I just don't know that that's practical in a naval environment. I guess they should have some crew trained in these man-pad devices, right? Like a Starfire, is that it? The British system has the 3 little rockets in it. Laser guided, can't be interfered, can't be stopped, but then smoke stops that, right? I don't know, it just worries me. I'm watching the Russians getting their ass handed to them mightily by Ukraine. The innovation, creativity, using what you got. You know, you've been doing so much for so long with so little, you're not qualified to do anything with nothing. They're just handing it to the Russians. You know, I don't understand what Donald Trump, you know, I know why him. He's compromised. They have video of that man doing some things he doesn't want the world to see. And he knows it. And he would sink America and kill as many Russians and Ukrainians. He doesn't care about that, as long as his reputation is untarnished. That's why the war's not over already. If we backed Ukraine, even just a little bit more right now, it would be over. A few more sanctions, it would be over right now. Their economy's crashing. They're stealing money from people's savings accounts already, okay? They're selling off their gold, for God's sakes. They're done. And the reason it happened was the $5, the $5,000 drone against the $2 million tank. I mean, when you lose almost your entire tank force and what you're producing is shit and garbage, you're not long for the war. Ukraine's only going to get stronger as time goes on. Ukraine only has one problem, and one problem only, and that's manpower. Physical bodies to use the technologies. That's it. They're short on manpower. So I don't see any problem with sending troops. Any government on the planet that wants to send troops to Ukraine should be able to do that, just the way the Russians are doing. They got Chinese there, they got Koreans there, they got Colombians there, got Cubans there. I don't see any problem with other nations helping defend Ukraine at all, even en masse. Okay, Russia's a threat. It's always been a threat. It's a warmongering fucking system they have set up, and it's always going to be that way because it's like a dogfight. You know what I mean? They fight their way to the fucking top, and then they just fight the whole time. It's never been about the Russian people. Once you get away from St. Petersburg and Moscow, it is fucking backwoods. That's where they've been drawing all their manpower, because it doesn't upset the population, the white folks. I don't know. We'll see. I just got through watching a firepower demonstration. These guys fired 20 fucking rounds at this dummy boat, which was big and orange and in daylight, not low and gray at night. This was bright orange in the daylight, not big waves or nothing. And they shot the shit out of that fucking gun. Never hit it once. It took, they had 3 guns going before they finally hit it. And what they did was they had an explosive charge on the boat, right? That would go off when it was hit. It had a sensor that said, okay, when this package is disrupted, you explode. Bullets won't set most explosives off. They're too stable, okay? You literally need a blasting cap, that kind of shock wave to set it off. So even then, they probably just hit it with a couple of rounds, but it would have kept coming because that's what happened with the Sea Baby. You could see them hitting the damn thing over and over again, but it just didn't stop because they armored the small parts they needed to make sure that it was hard to kill. Once it had its final trajectory at you, it was very hard to kill. And it zigzags back and forth, right? Like the zombie in Call of Duty. It's hard to hit. So, yeah, I worry about that. I worry about it more and more here because you can say, okay, China, we're going to need our Navy. Venezuela, going to need your Navy. See? I mean, navies are still important. We've been in Iraq and everybody forgets about the Navy. Okay? But it's an important branch of our military for a reason. We'll see. Check it out yourself. Do firepower demonstrations. U.S. Navy firepower demonstrations on YouTube. And then you judge for yourself if it's enough to take out 2 or 3 of these things at night, designed to be stealthy. I don't know. It worries me.